So on that day we talked about the relationships. We talked about how to create the lookup relationship, and we talked about the master detail relationship. So in a lookup relationship, it's a loosely coupled relationship. How many lookup relationships you guys can have on an object, and how many master detail relationships are there on the object? Can you tell me?
25 for the lookup.
Very good.
And master only 2.
Very good. Okay. So so we also, what is the roll-up summary? And where is the roll-up summary available? Okay, so roll-up summary is available only in case of master detail relationship, and it is only available on the master table. Now, today we're going to go ahead and talk about many-to-many relationships, but before that there's a little bit small topics left from the previous class. So let's talk about those first. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is the cross-object formula fields. So cross-object fields. What do you mean by the cross-objects here? So let's say, guys, on my review object. So I'm at this particular object. This is my job applications, and this is my review. This is the review for that particular job application I have. Now, if I wanted to display which candidate it is, or I want to display the candidate first name or last name, etc. How will I be able to do it on the review object? So let's say if I go to the review, okay, and I'm here and I gave a rating of 10 here, and I go ahead and hit the save button. So this is my review object, and on this review object, if I wanted to display the first name of the candidate and the last name of the candidate, how will I able to do that? Because the candidate first name and the candidate last name are on the review object, are on the candidate object, right? Those fields are available on the candidate object, but we don't have any direct access to the candidate object. So how we're going to access those fields? So from our review object, we have a lookup, we have a master detail relationship from the review object to the master detail so from the review object, we have a relationship with the job application, and job application has a relationship with the candidate. So what we're going to do is, on the review object, we will be able to access the candidate fields. How? Because of this relationship that they have. From the review, we will go back to the job application, and from the job application, we'll go to the candidate object. Now, what are these fields called? These are called the cross-object formula fields, because what we are going to do, we are kind of crossing across the object. There is no direct link up, but from review to job application and job application to candidate. Let's say I wanted to go ahead and display the first name of the candidate, or if I want to display which position this particular review is for, then also we can access, because review object has a relationship with job application, and then job application has a relationship with the position. So this way also we will be able to access the position fields itself. So now we are going to go ahead, and let's say we wanted to display the position title here, or the position name. So how we're going to do here, we'll go back to our review object. So we'll go to the setup, okay, and then we'll go to the object section. Here, go down in the object section. On the review object, we wanted to add a field, which is our position title. So we're going to go ahead and say new. And this time, the type of the field would be a formula field. So we're going to go, because this is again a formula, and hit the next button. Now, what is the label of the field? You can say position name, or you can say position title, whatever you want to define it. So we can say, or you can just say position here. And then what will be the return type? The return type will be a text, because it will display the position title. So the return type will be a text. Now how are we going to access it? So first thing is, where is this position title available? This position title is on the position object, but the review does not have a direct relationship with the position object, but what it has is, it has a relationship with the job application. Now here guys, you will see two different job application, one with this array, one with this kind of triangular brace, and then this is the without the one. So this particular represents a field, the job application ID, or you can say the job application field, and this one indicates that there are more, this is like an object which has more fields. So you can think like job application object, and these are the fields of the job application object. Now we wanted to access the position title. Now where is this job application position title is? It is on the position table. So we'll go to the position, because this is just the single field, and this position with an arrow with this particular triangular brace is basically an object which are all the fields. So from here we'll pick up the position title. So this is my position title, and you can see that this RRR underscore underscore R represents the related field. Okay, so that's for position R, job application related to the position, and then position name we're trying to display. So this is RR stands for underscore underscore R stands for the related field here. So now what we're trying to do, from the review object we are going to the job application, from the job application we are going to the position object, and from the position object we are displaying the name of that position. So now if I go ahead and hit the next button, and then visible to all, next, and save. So here on the review, so if we go to the job applications, this is our review object. So if you go back to our review object here, and on this review object you can see there is a position, but there is no value to the position because probably the position has been deleted or what. So now we can go back and pick up another one, JA002. Let's say we define a review here, and we gave him a rating of 7, and go ahead and hit the save button. So now in this case you can see there is a position called Salesforce admin. See, there, on the review object there is no direct relationship with the position, but since we have this cross object formulas, that's why we are able to access the position admin. Are you guys following? And I'll tell you one more time how to create that. So first thing, we went to the setup, then we went to the object section. So we went to the objects here, and in the objects you went to the object to which you wanted to display that particular field. So we went to the review object, and then what we did, we created a new formula field here. So we'll go ahead and hit the formula field here, and then hit the next button. We selected the return type, we gave a particular name here. This is the text field, the return type is the text, and then here we went to the, we are on this advanced formula section. We picked up which field? From the review we went to the job application, from the job application we went to the position here. Okay, and then we hit the position name. So we picked up the position title, and then we hit the insert button. So this is how you have created a cross object formula. Now similarly, if I wanted to display a link, if let's say I wanted to create a first name and last name link here, like a hyperlink, and then whenever the user clicks on that hyperlink, I want him to take to that particular candidate information. Okay, how I'm going to access it? I'm going to access by the same cross object formula. From the review, I will go to the job application. From the job application, I'll go to the candidate, and on the candidate I have first name and the last name. So now what we're going to do here is, we will go back to we'll go to the setup here. If I want to display the first name and the last name of the candidate, so what I'm going to do, I'll go back to my review object. So we'll go to the object section. So this is the objects here. We'll go to the review object here. Go to the new here. And then it's a formula field, so we're going to go ahead and select the formula from here, and then hit the next button. So what is the name of this? So you can display something called this candidate information here. So we can go ahead and say candidate. excuse me, the return type would be what? It's also going to be a text. So the return type would be a text. Hit the next button. Now, in the function category, we wanted to display the hyperlink. So here we have a function available called hyperlink, and what does it take? It takes three parameters: URL, a friendly name with the friendly name, and then there's a target. Target means once you click on that link, where you want me to go. That's the target. Now help. So we wanted to go ahead and insert this particular function here. So we don't want the URL from here, so we're going to go ahead and say this one particular URL, and then what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead where we wanted to go. So every record has a unique ID. Means because in Salesforce you can add duplicate and all that. Every record has a unique ID. What do you mean by the ID? I'll tell you. So if you go back here, if you go to this particular if you go to any of this, if you go to the job application, let's say. See this ID on this URL, there is this ID. So every record has an ID. The first three letters, this is an alphanumeric ID. Okay, this is a case insensitive ID, and when the 18 digit is a case sensitive. Okay, so basically this is an ID which is of 15 characters long. It's an alphanumeric. The first three represents the object. So if you go to the job application, A02 is for the object. The remaining is basically the whole ID is there. The combination becomes the. Now if you go to another job application, you will see that A02 is still there. And if you go to the next one, you will see that A02 is still there, because the first three letters represents the object, and all the three records are the same, belong to the same job application object. That's why you see the same ID. Similarly, if you go to the candidates, C04, this is A01 is the ID for the candidate object. So this is the one. If you go to the next candidate record, you will see it also has A01. So basically, the three letters represents the object type. Now, if the object type is same, all of them will have the same three letters in the front. Okay. So now what we are trying to do here is, I wanted to, let's say there is a hyperlink, and in that hyperlink, I should take. So whenever the user clicks on the first name or last name hyperlink, I need to take him to the record ID. Means basically, if you have this ID, you are talking about a particular record, because every record has a unique record ID. So what I'm trying to do here is, I'm going to go ahead and we'll go whenever user clicks on a particular link, this is the URL that will be the one that will be it will take it to that particular URL. So now how will I access? So I'll go to the where should I go? I should go to the candidate, but whenever the user clicks on that first name or last name hyperlink, it should take him to that particular record. So how you are identifying the record? Using the record ID. So from review, I'm going to the job application. From job application, I'm going to do the candidate, and on this candidate, I have something called as record ID. Now this particular record ID will take me to that particular record. So if I go ahead and hit the insert button, this is my hyperlink. This is the URL it will take me to. Now, how should I display this thing? So here, the friendly name becomes. So here, I wanted to go ahead and display my friendly name here. So I'm going to do it. So let's say just get rid of this whole thing. So there is the first name and the last name. So first name is on the candidate object. So I'll go here. The first name is here. Where is the first name? This is the first name. Insert. And let's say I wanted to have some space in between. You can always go ahead and say, and the double quotes here has a space, and then another and operator, and then I'm going to have the last name. So review here, job application, candidate, and the last name, and insert. So what I have here is, this is the hyperlink. Okay, this is a function that is available, which is basically going to create a hyperlink. And then the first thing was, what is the URL that you want to go to? So this is my URL. Whenever user clicks on the hyperlink, I should take him to the record ID of that particular candidate, okay, whose first name and last name we are showing here. So now what is this? We are trying to display the first name, okay, as well as with some space with the last name. So if you don't have this and this one, so what will happen? Everything will be together without a space. That's it. That's the only purpose of this and with a double quotes is basically you're trying to add this string and you have kind of using AND operator to concatenate this. Okay, that is why we have this AND here, and then hit the check syntax button. Okay, if everything looks good, yeah, everything looks good, then we can go to the next page. Anyone has any confusion with this particular cross object formula? Let me know right now. Okay, so now we have created this cross object formula, and then we'll go ahead and hit the next button. Visible to all, hit the next, and then hit the save button. So now what we have here is, if you go to the job application, if you go to that particular review object here, and let's say okay, if I go to that review object, you can see that there is a candidate. Because we didn't have any last name, that's why it didn't came. So now if it's a hyperlink, when you click on that, it will take you to that particular record ID. Okay, this is the way to access. So directly when I clicked on it, it took me to that particular record with that record ID. So this is what we have done. Okay, we have now, this was only having the first name. Now if I want to display last name, if I, let's say I have a candidate who has a first name and last name, okay. Okay, and then hit the save button. New job application. Position is, let's say, Salesforce admin position, and then status is a new, and then hit the save button. Okay, and then if I wanted to go ahead and add the new review here, let's go ahead and say this got a score of 8, hit the save button here. Okay, and then if I go back to the job application JA005, if I go to that particular review, now this time you're going to see a hyperlink here with Shah Rukh Khan, and then if you click on that, it'll take you to that particular record here. Okay, so this is what we have is the cross object formulas. And why we are able to do that? Because we don't have a direct relationship, but we have indirect relationship from the review to the job application to the candidate, or from the review to the job application to the position. So this is what we are, this is how we have created the hyperlink here. Okay, any questions on this one, guys? Okay, Madhu, Lata. Okay, thank you. So the next thing was, guys, see here on the candidate, let's say if I go to this particular job application, okay. Now, guys, you might wanted to add, see this just shows you a job application number, right? Let's say I wanted to display the name also of the candidate or the position. I want to display more fields here. So, or let's say if I go up here and if I create a new job application, and this is my position candidate. Now on the candidate here, you only see a candidate number, right? You only see a candidate number. Now let's say if I wanted to see a candidate name and the candidate first name, because I don't want to go to the candidate, get his name, and then, okay, then see, okay, which candidate I should create a job application. I wanted to see right away here. So basically, what are these things? These are nothing but these are different screens, and they have a name. This is a lookup screen, okay, because you can see that this is basically written as a lookup here. So this is a lookup screen. So now if you go back, if you wanted to, let's say, add more fields here, how you will do that? You will go to the candidate object, okay, because you're trying to change the candidate lookup here. Now if you go back here and you go to the view object section here, if you scroll down, these are the different kinds of the layouts. These are the different search layouts. Lookup dialog is the one which basically when you there is that search magnifier glass. When you click on that, the window that pops up is a lookup window. So here, if you want to change that, you have to change that particular lookup dialogs there. Okay, so now this is if I want to change something, I will have to click on this lookup dialog. Now I only see candidate number. Let's say I don't want to see candidate number. I wanted to see the first name of the candidate, so I'll go ahead and get rid of this candidate number. And I wanted to see the last name of the candidate, so I'll go ahead and display the candidate last name. If he has an email, I'll show him the email. So these are the information that I wanted to display instead of just the number. So now this time, if you go to the job application and if you click on this, and if I wanted to create a new job application, and this time if I click on this magnified glass, this time you are not only going to see just the number, because no one is seeing the number, we are seeing the first name, last name, and the email. What did we change? We changed the lookup page here. Okay, what we changed? We changed the lookup page here. Now lookup page has more information, just like it was only having the candidate number was there, but now what we have more information. So now let's say if you go to the job application again, click on this job application. Let's say I wanted to see here, there's only position title mentioned. Okay, now let's say I wanted to see the maximum and the minimum pay as well as the location for the position. Where I need to go? I need to go to the position object. Okay, I need to change which particular layout. I need to change the lookup layout. So here, if I go back to this position object and if I go to the view object section here, and if you scroll down in the view object section, there is this lookup dialog. Right now the column where are displayed is only position title. Now let's say I want to display more items. So where I'm going to do, I'll go to this edit here. Right now it only has position title. Let's say I want to display maximum and minimum pay. So then I can move the minimum pay here, the maximum pay here. And let's say I also wanted to see where is the location of the position or what's the status of the position. You can always go ahead and pick that up as well. So then move it to the right hand side and hit the save button. Okay, so now what it is, this is particular position object here, and if you scroll down, these are the different kinds of the fields. Now you're going to see, if I go to the job application, hit the new button, if I go to the particular position here, this is my maximum, minimum pay, and the status. These are the 4 fields I'm going to see now. The position title, the minimum pay, the maximum pay, and the status of the position. Okay. Now similarly, if you are under this position here, so how you're going to change? You're going to change the lookup. Now this particular thing, let's say I want to display maximum and minimum pay as well here. So that is a part of the tab. That's it. So if you want to add more information on this page, where we have to go, I'll go to that view object section, scroll down, and that particular thing is controlled by this particular positions tab here. So now if I go back, positions tab or search layout, I think it's search. Let me just double check. I always get confused which one is which. So here, let's say maximum pay I want to display, hit the save button, go to the position, okay, it only shows the position title. So if I go back, what did I change? I changed the tab. Okay, so tab is not this one, search layouts. Let's say maximum pay. Okay, so this is my maximum pay and the minimum pay. Because what did we change here? So you can remember this is a search layout page here. So where did I change? I wanted to set up here. I went to that particular object, and then on the object there is this view object section. And which particular thing I changed? I changed this search layout here. This particular one. No, which was not changed? I think I changed the tab one. Okay, that's the difference. Okay, I changed the tab one. So the first one was right. So not the search layout, this one. You don't have to change the search layout. You have to change the positions tab. So if I go back here, move things back. hit the save button, go to the position. So first thing was same, right? So what did I change? I changed the positions tab. Similarly, on the candidate, here you're only seeing the candidate number. Let's say I wanted to see the candidate first name, last name, etc. So where will I go? I'll go to that particular object, scroll down, and I will go to the candidate search layout page here, this one. Right now it only displays the candidate number. Now if I wanted to display more, I'll go up here and I'll display the first name of the candidate, last name of the candidate. I don't want to display the number here, so I'll move it back. And then if you want to display more stuff like email, etc., you can display. And then hit the save button. So now if you go to the candidates, now you're basically going to see all that information. Why did I just change this one? I have to change the tab here, not the layout. Save. So here if you go to the candidate section, now you're going to see the first name and the last name. Let me just, give me a minute. Search layouts. We don't have to change anything on here. So I'm going to move this back, reverse my changes. And then I'll go to my candidate number will be the one on the right hand side. Then move this back. So then override this result, go to the save section, and you need to change the tab section, not the search layout but the candidate tab. So here if I go back, everything looks good. Move the candidate number back and hit the save button. Then go to the candidates. Now you're going to see the first name of the candidate and the last name of the candidate. Okay. So this is what we have changed. So what it was there, they were different view which controls different pages. So there was a lookup. So if you want to change anything that shows in the magnifier glass, remember there's a magnifier glass whenever you have a relationship. If you want to change anything here on this particular, when you click on the magnifier, you need to change the lookup dialog of that particular object. So if you wanted to change the candidate lookup, you need to go to the candidate object and change this particular column. Now if you wanted to change the positions lookup, then you need to go to the position object and change the lookup. If you wanted to are on the search results, these are the search results, right? If you go to the positions, these are the different search results. This is a search page here. If you want to change anything on this page, then where you have to go? You have to go to the you have to go to that particular tab. If you want to change the positions, then you have to go to the positions tab. If you have to change the candidate, you have to go to the candidate tab. So that particular thing is controlled by this layout, positions tab and the candidate layout. Now, and you already know that if you have to change anything on this particular page, this layout page, where you have to go? You have to go to this edit layout section. Okay, so these are the things that get controlled by those windows. Any questions on this one? Do you want me to repeat this part? Okay, Lata, Madhu. Okay. Now, next thing that we are going to discuss is the third type of the relationship we have is called as the many-to-many relationship. Now, what is the meaning of a many-to-many relationship? Now, let's say guys, we have created, now let's first, before to understand the many-to-many relationship, what we're going to do here is we will create a new object, okay, and we'll add some fields to that object, and then we'll talk about what is this many-to-many relationship. So now we'll go to the setup here. I have to add a new object, so I'm going to go ahead and add this object here. The name of the object would be employment website. Now what is the purpose of this object, guys? The purpose of this object is because, see, now you have a place to store candidate. Okay, then you have a place to store all the positions that are open in your company, right? And then you have and then that particular candidate will be called for an interview process, and then he will be rated based on the score. He will be either hired or rejected. Okay. Now, how you're going to market your positions? Okay, you will see that whenever there is an open position, you will see it on LinkedIn, you will see it on Indeed, you will see it on different job portal websites. This is a place to market. So similarly, we need to market our positions as well, right? We need to show that, okay, in my company, this is a particular position which is open. So to keep track of where those positions are and which are the different job portal websites we have, what is our budget for those websites, all that kind of stuff, we need a object and we need a table. So now I'm going to go ahead and create a custom object here. So click on the new. The name of my object is employment websites. So I'm going to call it as employment website, and then the plural label would be employment websites. And then it starts with a vowel, so I'm going to click on this checkbox. And then what is the record name? Let's say I wanted to call it as employment website name. It's a text field. I wanted to go ahead and all these checkboxes checked here, and then allow the search, launch new custom, and hit the save button. And the tab style is basically whatever you want to do it. Next. Next. This particular tab will be only part of the recruiting application, and then hit the save button. So now what you have is you have created this employment website which only has one column here, or one field, which is an employment website name. I wanted to add a couple more fields. To do that, let me just go to direct schema builder, which is a better place, and it's faster for me to add. You can pick up which is yours favorite. So clear all. I need to go to the employment website section here, and in the employment website, the first thing I wanted to ask, because see, each website will have, wherever you're putting it, there's a URL for that, like linkedin.com, monster.com, etc. So you're going to go to the element section and pick up a field of type URL. There's a field called of URL types. You're going to go ahead and add that particular field. What is the name of my field? The web address. Okay. And then hit the save button. Next we have is, I wanted to know for every post how much it's going to cost me. So if I'm on LinkedIn website, let's say it costs $30 to put your advertisement. If you're a monster, it takes $25. Okay. So based on that, I also need to have a amount of what is each of the post cost. So if let's say that's going to be the price per post, and then length is going to be 5. And then hit it's a required field or whatever, and hit the save button. And the last one is basically how much is my maximum budget. So if it costs me $20 to put a post on this, and how many positions I need to post, and how much my total budget I wanted to track. So that is also going to be of type currency, and the name of that particular field would be maximum budget. And then we have length is going to be 6. Decimal places is 2. And then we have this one. Okay, so now we have our object ready. Okay, Madhu is asking, is the audio clear for all? Madhu, I think there is some issue on your side then. Okay, can you do it right now? So I'll wait for you. I'll wait for you to join. I'm going to give you 2 minutes of if you want to reconnect, because I don't want to repeat myself again. Madhu, are you going to log out and log in back again? Oh yeah, Amit, thank you. Okay, let's. Is he joining? Give him 2 more minutes. Let's see. Okay, Madhu is here now. Okay. So now what we have is we have created this employment website and these are the different fields. Now if I go to the setup here, I will not see those fields here because what I need to do is I need to manually go and add those fields to the layout of the page. So I'll go here and I'll click on the edit layout and then I'll add those fields below. So to add the fields, I have this maximum web address. So I'm going to go ahead and put the web address. Then I have the maximum budget, and then I have the price per post. So these are the fields that I'm going to add. Go ahead and hit the quick save button. And then if you go back to your employment website, you will see that those particular fields will be visible to you now. So if you go to the employment website section and go to the new section, now this is all the fields that you have here. Okay, now what we have here is, we were talking about the many-to-many relationship. Now what is this many-to-many relationships here? Now guys, we have created a position object already. Okay, and then we have a thing called as the employment website. Now, this is not a one-to-many relationship or many-to-one because see, one particular position, let's say you have 4 different positions open in your company. You have a Java developer position open, you have a Salesforce developer position open, you have a Salesforce admin position open in your company. And now one particular position, you can put it on different websites. Like you can put it on LinkedIn, then LinkedIn, you can put this particular one on Monster as well. Okay, and then you can put it on the indeed.com as well. So the one particular position you can put it on many. And similarly, this Java developer position is also listed. So this is one to many, and similarly, the Salesforce developer is also, let's say, listed on this particular one as well, on the monster.com as well, or on the Indeed. So this is a many to many relationship, right? This is on the one particular position can be listed on many employment websites, and one employment website can have many positions. So on LinkedIn, you might get a position for Java developer as well as the Salesforce developer, right? So this is not a Madhu.
Yes, yes.
Okay, are you able to, can you hear me now properly?
Yeah, now I'm fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So I was talking about the many-to-many relationship here. Okay, so now what I have is I have a position object and then I have an employment website object. One position can be listed on many employment websites, and similarly on one website you will have a list of many positions. So on LinkedIn you will have a post for Java developer position, you will have a post for Salesforce admin, Salesforce developer, and similarly one particular Java developer position can be posted on LinkedIn, can be posted on Monster, can be posted on Indeed, can be posted on Naukri, etc., right? So there are different places where your position will get posted. So this is not a one-to-many or many-to-one relationship. This is a many-to-many relationship. Okay. Now, how we will create a many-to-many relationship between the position and employment website? The whole purpose here of mine is whenever I go to the employment website, I should see that particular position and listed on which all websites. And if I go to the employment website, let's say LinkedIn, I should know that which all positions are listed on LinkedIn. So that is what I wanted at the end of this whole section is basically I wanted to see which all positions are listed where. Okay, so basically if Java developer position, I wanted to know where that Java developer position is listed, or is it on LinkedIn, Monster, or all of them. Okay, similarly if I go to particular LinkedIn employment website, I wanted to see which all positions are listed. Okay, only Java developer, project manager, Salesforce developer, account manager, etc., So which all positions are listed. So there is a many-to-many relationship. Now to create this many-to-many relationship, we don't have just a radio button to select from the field section that we have done in the case of lookup or master detail. No, we cannot do that. There is no option like, okay, select the many-to-many relationship and you'll end up creating. No. To do a many-to-many relationship, you need to create a junction object. Okay, there is a junction object that you need whenever you are trying to create a many-to-many relationship. So what you need a junction object whenever you need to create a many-to-many relationship. Okay, now what is this junction object is going to do? This junction object will have two master detail relationship, one with the employment website and one with the position object. This is what the junction object is. A junction object is an object which has two master detail relationship from itself. So from this is a job posting junction object. Okay, this is my junction object called as job posting. Okay, this has a relationship with the position table. This has a relationship with the employment website table. This is a relationship with the employment website and the position object here. Job posting has a relationship with the employment website. There is a master detail relationship this side and master detail relationship this side. So to create a many-to-many relationship, you need a junction object. And that junction object will be called, basically will be this one, job posting, so that we can have a many-to-many relationship between the position and the employment website. Anytime, anywhere, if you want to create a many-to-many relationship, you need to create a middle one. You need to create a master detail. You need to create a junction object. And junction object is an object which has two master detail relationship. So now our name of our junction object is a job posting. Okay, now what is a job posting? Let's say we have just created this object just to create a many-to-many relationship. At the end of this lecture, what we're going to have is, we will see that on a position, if you go to this particular position, let's say we went to the Salesforce admin, we will see a list of all the employment website where this position is listed. And if you go to this employment website, let's say LinkedIn or whatever, you will see that on the LinkedIn which all positions are listed. This is going to be the end result of this creating a many-to-many relationship. Okay, to create a many-to-many relationship, we need to create a junction object. So let's go ahead and create our junction object. Junction object is nothing but another type of a custom object. So you'll go up here and you will create a new object here. So we'll go up and click on this new object section. The name of my object is, let's say, job posting. That's the name of my object. The plural label is job postings. And then you have it, instead of job posting name, I'm going to put a job posting number here. And it's an auto number, so I'm going to go ahead and do this one. And what is the format of this? It's going to be JP-000 and the starting number is 1. Okay, so this is going to be this one. All of these are checkboxes are checked. It's in the deployed status. And then what we have is you're going to add, you don't want a separate tab for it, right? Because we don't want this junction object as another tab, because the whole purpose of this junction object to establish a many-to-many relationship between the position and the employment website. So I don't need a tab for it. I'll just go ahead and hit the save button. So now I have created my job posting object. Now what is a junction object? Junction object has a two master detail relationship that is called as a junction object here. So first relationship I'm going to create here between the position and job posting. Now guys, tell me who is a parent and who is a child in this kind of relationship. Okay, who is a parent and who is a child in a job posting object, and I wanted to create a master detail relationship here. So which one becomes the parent and which one becomes the child? Job posting is basically would be the post related to the object on the on the employment website. So wherever the post that you put that, okay, we are looking for a senior Salesforce developer position, that's a job posting. Okay, on the LinkedIn, that's a job posting. Employment website is a LinkedIn website. Position is the Salesforce developer position. That particular post that you're putting on LinkedIn is job posting. Okay, that's called a job posting. Now tell me what kind of relationship is there between the position object and the job posting object. And if once you know that, now then you tell me where will the relationship field go. Will it go on the job posting object or will it go on the position object? Think twice before telling me.
Position is the parent and job posting is child.
What about others? I need answer from all three of you.
I think the same.
What about Madhu?
The child is always a job posting.
Very good, very good. Exactly. So child is going to be a job posting and the position is going to be the parent object. So where will the relationship field go? If I wanted to create a relationship, where will it go? Will it go on the position object or will it go on the job posting object?
Position object.
Where will the relationship will go? What about others?
Job posting.
Position.
Okay, what about Lata?
Job posting.
What about Amit?
Position.
Okay, Lata, can you tell me why it will go out on the job posting?
Because always the relationship we create in the child object.
Yes. So why did you say position, guys?
It's from parent to child, right? That's the reason.
So where should I, okay, if I wanted to create a relationship, where should I go? Should I go on the job posting or should I go to the position object to create that relationship?
Job posting.
Position object.
Amit, where does the relationship field go? Where does the relationship field go? Relationship field will always go on the child object. And which is the child here? Job posting is the child. No matter what kind of relationship it is, it will always go on the child object. And you have already told me that there's a relation, the position is the parent and the job posting is the child. So we have to go to the job posting object to create the relationship. So we'll go to the object section here. Did you get it?
Yes.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. When you give me wrong answers, I don't like it. So you go to the objects here, you go to the job posting object here, and then you need to create a relationship. Always remember, first thing you need to figure out is who is the parent, who is the child. That's it. And then once you know who is the parent, who is the child, just blindly put it on the child object, no matter what kind of relationship you are creating. Now, first thing is I'm going to create a new relationship here. The type of the relationship would be a master detail relationship. Go ahead and hit the next button. See, this is very important, the master detail. It creates a special type of parent-child relationship between the object and another object. So this is called as a detail, or you can call it as a master table. The parent is also called as a master object. The relationship field is required on all detail records. What does that mean? See, the relationship field is required. So if you are trying to create a job application object, right? If you're trying to create a job application object, if you don't provide the position information, that's fine. That's completely okay, because position is not a required field on the job application. Position is a, let's say if you go to the job application here, if I go to the job application here, and if I'm trying to create a job application, even if I don't provide position or if I don't provide the candidate, it's not a required field. Okay, I don't have to provide the values for it to create a particular job application record. If I just go ahead and hit the save button, I would still be able to create that job application record, because the relationship field is not a required field in case of the lookup relationship, because job application has a lookup relationship with a position table and has a lookup relation with the candidate table. So whenever you're talking about a lookup relationship, the relationship field is not a required field. But if I go to the job, if I go to the job application, and if I'm trying to create a new review, and if I don't provide the value for this one, I will not be able to create this particular record, because here the relationship field, because there is a master detail relationship between the review object and the job application, and that's why it is a required field. So if I try to save the record, I will not be able to save it until or unless I provide the value for it. So that means the relationship field is always required in case of master detail relationship. What else was there? What else is there? So in a master detail relationship, you have a master table, which is nothing but the parent table, and then you have a detail table, which is nothing but the child table. The relationship field is required on all the records. While you're creating the record, in a case of master detail relationship, you need to provide the value for that particular relationship field. The ownership and sharing of the child record are determined by the master record. So here, you have a master record is a job application and a child record is a review. Everything the child record has will be controlled by the master table. So what does that mean is, if I go ahead and create my review record, if I go to the job application, the owner for this job application is Deepika Khanna. Okay, automatically the owner for this review will also be Deepika Khanna. Okay, you cannot have a different owner for a position for a job application and a different owner for the review. So it will be controlled by the master table. It will be controlled by the master table. This is what it is saying. It is saying the ownership of a detailed record, means of a child record, are determined by the master record. Means who's ever the owner of the job application record, then the one that we created, that same owner would be there for that particular child record also. But here in the case of lookup relationship, there's a lookup relationship between position and job application. You can have a different owner of position record and you can have a different owner of a job application. It does not matter. Okay. When a user deletes the master record, all the detailed records are also deleted. So if you go ahead and delete that job application record, all the reviews related to that will also get deleted, that we have already seen. You can create roll-up summary fields on the master record to summarize the detailed records. So you have already talked about roll-up summary. It is basically used to summarize the detailed records, and this particular field always goes on the master table, and it is only available in case of a master detail relationship. The relationship field allow user to click on a lookup icon to select a value from a pop-up list. You already know there is a magnified glass. You click on it, you select a value. The master object is the source of the values in the list. So from where those values are coming? From the master table. Basically, if you're trying to create a review, where you have to go. So let's say if I go back here to the review object, and if I go to this one, so there is a magnified glass available. So if you go up here, click in new, and what this magnified glass shows, this basically shows all the applications that you have. So if I go up here, these are all the different applications that I have. Okay. So always read these lines. The relationship field allow user to click on the lookup icon to select a value from the pop-up list. The master object is the source of those values. Okay. Now, next thing you have to create, we were on the job posting object. Okay, sorry, we have to go to the job posting object, so we can create that particular relationship between the position and the job posting. So we'll go up to the object section here so that we can establish a many-to-many relationship between the position and employment website. Okay, so the whole purpose of creating this extra object is to establish that relationship. So we went to the job posting object. Now we are trying to create a new master detail relationship between the position object. So we are going to go up here and select a master detail and hit the next button. Okay, related to which object? It is related to the position object. So we'll go ahead and select the position from here. Okay, child relationship name is job postings. Hit the next button. Visible to all. Next. Okay, here is the magic. The related list label. What is this related list label? Related list label is nothing but if you go to the position object, this is what the related list label is. This thing. This is the related list label. I don't want to mention here as a job posting. What I want is employment websites. That's the only thing I wanted to change here. I'm going to go ahead and change it to employment websites. Okay. So that when I'm on the position, the related list label should say employment websites. Okay. And then hit the save button. So now I have created a relationship between the job posting and the position object. So now if you go to the positions and if you click on one of these, if you scroll down, you will see something called as employment websites. Okay, because our related list label is employment websites. Now guys, any questions on this one? I just created a simple master detail relationship, nothing else. Okay, the only thing I changed was in the related list label name, I changed from job postings to employment websites. Okay, so now on the position object, when I come here, I can have a related list label as employment websites. Now I need to create the second part of the puzzle. What is that? Now I need to have a relationship between a job posting and the employment website. Now tell me who is the parent and who is the child in this case. Who is the parent and who is the child in this case? Job posting. And where will the relationship field go?
Job posting is the parent.
What about others? What is the job
Yeah,
posting?
job posting is its parent.
How did you define that?
Because the employment website has many relations, so we can post like so many jobs also. So such the case, it's a child.
Very good. Very good, Madhu. Madhu is the only one who said right. On a particular employment website, you can have multiple job postings, right? So who becomes the parent here? Employment websites. Who became the child here? Job posting. And why did you say job posting is the parent? On employment, you have to always remember, let's say what is an employment website? LinkedIn is an employment website. On LinkedIn, I can have multiple job postings, right? I can have a posting for Java developer. I can have a posting for project manager. I can have a posting for Salesforce admin. So I have multiple job postings on a LinkedIn. So it's a one-to-many, but on one-to-many relationship here. But okay, so in this case, we have who is the parent, who is the child. This one becomes the parent and this one becomes the child. Now where will the relationship field go? Will it go on the job posting or will it go on the employment websites? Where do I need to create the relationship field?
Job posting.
Very good, because always goes on the child object. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my job posting object again, and this time I will be creating the relationship from job posting to the employment websites. So we'll go to the object section here, we'll go to the setup. And then I'll go to the objects here. You can always just go to the recent items. And here I will go ahead and create the relationship. It's also a master detail relationship. Hit the next button. Related to which object? It is related to the employment website. And then hit the next button. Hit the next button. So here I will only change, instead of job postings, I'll call it as positions. That's the only difference I'm going to do, and then hit the save button. So now if I go to the employment websites, let's say if I create a couple of employment websites, I'll say LinkedIn, address is linkedin.com, price per post $15, budget is $1,500. Go ahead and hit the save button. Similarly, I'll create another. So now if I go to the employment website, if you scroll down, you will see a place called positions. Because what we did is we only changed the related list label. That's the only thing we changed, is change the related list label here. Okay. Now, next thing is, let's say we create a couple more of these employment websites. And then we will see, if I create employment websites, let's say we have Monster now. The web address is monster.com. Hit the save button, and let's say you have another one here, employment websites. Let's say we go ahead and create the Indeed. We have indeed.com, and then we have price per post is $20. It's $2,000 is the budget. Go ahead and hit the save button. Okay. So you have employment websites. Now if I wanted to create which all position is listed here, you can define it as, on the Indeed website, I have a Salesforce admin position. Go ahead and hit the save button. Now you will see all these postings here. Let's say there's another one of, let's say, Salesforce developer position is also listed on linkedin.com. So now you know that these two positions are listed on this particular job posting number. So if I wanted to change this one, where should I go? If I wanted to add more fields, let's say I want to display the position name itself, etc. See, I am on the employment website and I have a relationship from employment website to the job posting. So, but I still will be able to access the position fields because from the job posting, I have a relationship with the position. So now where will I go? I will go to the edit layout section. Very good. So you'll go to the edit layout section here. You will go to the edit layout section here. There is a place called related list label. You scroll down and here you will display the position name. So here you can pick up all the position title, etc. So I'm going to go ahead and move position title, maximum pay, minimum pay. I don't want this posting number. I'll move it back, hit the OK button, do it a quick save. Now if you go back to your employment websites, click on this Indeed website. If you scroll down, you will know that, okay, these are the two positions that are listed on Indeed.com. What did we change here? What we changed here is we just changed the related list label, because this is what the related list label is. And then what I did, I went to the edit layout section, and then there is a section for related list. And what I defined here in this, I just clicked on the ranch button and moved these elements here. If I wanted to display the location, I can display that as well, just picking up the location from this left hand side and moving to the right hand side. So you can always do those things. If you want to define functional area or change the status or whatever the things, you can always do that. So here, if I want to move it, I'll move it on the right hand side. Do a quick save here. And this is my employment website. So if you go to the Indeed here, these are all the different positions I have. Okay, any questions? Anyone has any questions? Okay. So now this is what I have. This is my employment website. I can have all these positions listed on that employment website. Similarly, guys, if I wanted to have on Salesforce developer, where all these Salesforce developer position is listed. If I wanted to know, okay, is it listed on LinkedIn? Where all employment website this particular position is listed. So how will I do? I don't have a direct relationship between position and employment website, but I have a relationship with the job posting which has a direct relationship with the employment website. So if I want to display which all websites, I will just go ahead and edit the layout here and go to the edit the employment website related list label, and then I will be able to access the employment website name. So here these you don't want it, so let's say this is my employment website name. I'll move it. The URL for that is this one. This is the place where those particular positions will be posted. So now if I go back here and if I go to the position object, if you scroll down, you know that okay, this particular position is listed on Indeed. Let's say if this particular position is listed at a couple more places, what you can do, you go to the Salesforce. On Indeed, we have a Salesforce admin and Salesforce developer. We'll go ahead and say that on this particular, you also have, if you go back to this particular position, employment websites, on the monster.com, I also have the Salesforce developer position listed there as well. So now if I go to the position section here, if I go to the position section and if I go to the Salesforce developer, you will know that where all this position is listed. So this particular position is listed on two websites, Indeed and Monster. Okay, so now what we have done is we have established the many-to-many relationship between the position and the employment website. How? By creating a junction object, and the name of the junction object is job posting. The whole purpose of creating the junction object was just to establish a many-to-many relationship, and what only thing that we changed was the related list label. Okay, so this is what a many-to-many relationship is created. Any questions on this one? Okay, so far, yeah, go ahead.
So Lata, for creating like many to many, we have to have we have to create a job function, right?
What is it? We have to create a junction object.
Junction object. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's called a junction object. We have to create a junction object whenever we are trying to create a many-to-many relationship. Otherwise, we'll not be able to create a many-to-many relationship.
Okay. And one more question. For lookup and master,
yeah,
we have to have go on the child object, right?
Any relationship will always on the child object. Whether it's a lookup relationship or you're trying to create a master detail, it will always go on the child object.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay. So first thing you need to figure out is who is the parent, who is the child. Once you know this one, and how you will figure out by this one-to-many thing. If you're able to establish one-to-many, many is the child object, one is the parent object. So then once you know who is the child, then you blindly you can say, okay, the relationship field will go on my child object. Okay, this is what it is doing. Now, the next thing that we have is, so far what we have created, let me just put everything together. We started with a position object, okay? And then we have created a candidate object. We started with a position object, then we created a candidate object, okay? And then what we did was to establish a relationship or to create that position and candidate, we created an object called job application, which basically has a relationship between position and job application and candidate. Then what we did was, then that particular candidate was called for an interview. And then what we did, that particular candidate can have been gone through multiple interviewers. So we created a review object to keep track on what is the score. So we created a review object here. Now this particular positions can be listed on different employment websites, right? So what we did was we created a employment website object basically to track which all positions are listed on where. And then what we created is we created a junction object called as job postings, which have information about to create this relationship between position and the employment website. So far we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 objects have been created. Okay. Now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and load the data from an external system. That's what we need to do, because I don't want to go ahead and insert a record one by one, right? I need something there where I can move my records from an Excel sheet and put it on my position object. Okay, I want to do something like that. How will I do it? To do it, I have two options. One is using a data loader, and the another one is the import wizard. In our course, we were going to go through the import wizard. Import wizard and data loader, it's same thing. It's basically going to do loading the data from an external system. But the problem with the data loader is we need records which are greater than 50,000. Those are the things that that's when we are going to use data loader. When the records are less than 50,000, we're going to use import wizard. So in our case, we're going to use import wizard to load the data from an external system and put it into our records. Okay. So we have two options. The question that can come from is which option you need to choose when the records that you need to import is less than 50,000. So you need to remember, if it's less than 50,000, you have to use import wizard. If it's greater than 50,000, you need to use the data loader. Okay, so that's the thing that you need to remember, that when it is less than, import wizard; when it is more than, we have data loader. So now if you go back to this one, if you go to the setup section here, if you want to load some data, first thing I would need, guys, is because I have not added all the fields, I think, which I have not added on this particular object. If someone has added, can you share me your username and password so I can show you how to add, how to do a data loading here? Let's say, remember I gave you homework. Can somebody share their username and password? Because I don't have all the fields that are there for my position object. But let's see. If I go to the candidate, I might have all the fields for the candidate. Okay, let's just leave it. I can explain you without that. So now if I go back here, this is my import wizard, data import wizard. Okay, now what is this data import wizard telling you? This particular wizard is used to import the data when it is less than 50,000. Okay, so let's say I have an Excel sheet, okay, and on that Excel sheet I have bunch of records, okay. So these are the steps that basically you wanted to follow whenever you're importing the records. Okay, so let's say I have an Excel sheet which has list of 15 candidates, and I wanted to go ahead and put it into my Salesforce. I don't want to go one by one, right? I don't want to go and pick up one and enter my information and save. Then go ahead and go to the next one, create 15 different records. No, I just want an operation which automatically transfers everything that I have in my Excel sheet to my Salesforce database. So first thing is you need to have the data that you need to import. That's the step. That's the preparation step. Then you need to see where to import, which data to import. Means, are you importing into position table or are you importing into candidate table? You need to tell that the Excel sheet that you have, that data is it for the position table or is it for the candidate table, which table it is. Then there will be a field mapping. Now what do you mean by field mapping? See guys, on our position object in the Salesforce, we have certain fields, right? We have created an object which has different fields like position title, maximum pay, minimum pay, then we have location, status, etc. This is our Salesforce. This is our Salesforce object. Okay. Now the sheet that I'm going to insert, that I'm going to load, can have different column names, right? Because they are two different independent entities. This is my Excel sheet, this is my Excel sheet, and this is my Salesforce. So here, instead of saying max pay, I might have maximum pay. Instead of saying location, I might have position location. So the column names can be different, right? And the Excel sheet might have a different column. Here might have a different column. Okay, but they represents the same meaning. Maximum pay here represents the max pay on the Salesforce. So then I need to do the field mapping. Okay, I need to see that, okay, this column belongs to this column on the Salesforce. This column basically imported into this column. So you need to say that, okay, maximum pay belongs to this maximum. Minimum pay belongs to this minimum. So you have to basically do the field mapping. By default, if the names are exactly same, if they're here also you have max pay, here also on the Excel sheet also you have max pay, then you don't have to manually define it. Automatically Salesforce is smart to understand that I need to put the values from here to that column. Okay, they're smart. But if let's say the column names are totally different, then in that case you need to manually define that, okay, pick this column and put it here. Okay, and there might be a scenario where you have more columns on an Excel sheet where you have less columns on the Salesforce. Then what will happen is that data will not get imported. So that only the data on those columns will not get imported. So let's say you have extra on this particular Excel sheet, you have another thing called as position salary or whatever. Okay, but you don't have the position salary on the Salesforce object that you have created. So what will happen is this column only will not, the data from this column will not get imported to this one. Rest everything else will work the same way. There might be a scenario where you have more columns in the Salesforce object, but you have less columns in the Excel sheet. Then what will happen is you're trying to import from Excel sheet, those columns value will become null. So let's say you have a column extra which is not there, you don't have a data for that column, so that all those values will become empty there in the case of object. So let's just see how to do it. Okay, so first thing is we need to prepare which data you need to import to. Means is it in position table, is it an object table, which data it is for. Then if there is a mapping involved, means if you're not sure that, if the Salesforce is not able to figure out himself that which column data is going where, then you need to define the mapping manually and then just start the import. So now I'll go back to my launch wizard. Okay, go ahead and click on the launch wizard button there, big one. Now see here, when you're choosing the data import, then you can only import up to 50,000 records at a time. So basically you can only import 50,000 records at a time. Here you have what kind of data are you importing? Is it from the custom object? Is it standard object? Mine is custom object. What it is? It's a candidate. So I'm going to go ahead and select the candidate. What do you want to do? Do you want to add the new records? Do you want to update the existing records? Or do you want to add new and update the existing records? What do you want to do? So remember, there might be existing records, right? There might be already records that are there in the Salesforce, and there might be a case where you want to update them instead of adding everything new, brand new. So you can pick up any options from this three drop down. So let's say I wanted to add the records. Now match by what? Match by the name means that if the name is similar that you have it in the Excel sheet, then you can pick up from here. Which user field in your file designates record owner? So who is the record owner of your, I don't have any record owner. So see, I'm doing the candidates, I don't have it owner. There is nothing like an owner here. So I'll just leave it as none. Okay, there is no workflows I have created, so just leave it like that. Now go ahead and drag the CSV file. So this is, let's say my file is, I think I have a file. Let me just go ahead and, yeah, I have already a file here. I think so. Let me first show you how this file looks like if I open it in Excel. Okay, this is my file looks like right now. Okay, if I'm on the candidates, this is my Excel sheet looks like. You can create your own Excel sheet or whatever. This is the Excel sheet that I have. And I wanted to upload those records from here. Okay. So this is my, see, these are the fields that I have. So I have email, I have first name, last name, city, country, currently employed, current employer, currently, these are the different columns that I have for my from the Excel sheet. Now what I wanted to do, I wanted to put these values and I wanted to import in my Salesforce. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the candidate. So now this is my file that I want to import, and then it has already been imported. So we have add new records. First we picked up for which object it is. It's a candidate because I'm going to add it to the candidate table. Then match by, how I'm going to see match by, unique values in your data. For example, ID values or email values help Salesforce determine whether to add new records or update the existing one. So let's say you already have a candidate with the name of Deepika Khanna. Do you want another candidate with the name of Deepika Khanna, or do you want to update his information using this information? So you can basically match by, if there is something with the same name, then try to match it by the name. Okay. Now what is this user field in your file designates a record owner? Custom object records, this is also important. Here you say the custom object records are owned by users. So every time you create a record, you will see a record owner. See, if I go back to if I go up here, you will see there is an owner of every record. See here, you see the owner. Every record has an owner. Let's say if you are logged in, then if you're trying to add a record, the owner will be you. So whoever is creating that record, the owner will be that person. So custom objects records are owned by a particular user. Now, on your object, there might be a field called field which designate who is the owner. Choose the field that represents the owner of that particular record you will import. If you choose none, Salesforce will assign you as the owner of all records created from this import. So if who will be the owner of this particular, who will be the owner of that record that will get imported? So on this particular Excel sheet, there might be a field which represents the name of that person you wanted to call it as the owner. Right now there is no field on this particular, so let's say you wanted to define Paul as the owner. Okay, let's say Paul as the owner of the particular record. So what will happen is from here you can pick up the first name as one of the column to represent the Paul, but we are not going to do that because we don't have a user by name Paul. So if you want to do that, either you need to create a user and that he will become the owner. Otherwise, you just leave it as it is. So you will become the owner of those records that get imported. Does it make sense? See, every record will have a owner. By directly when you go to the Salesforce and you enter a record, you become the owner. But these are the records we are trying to import. Who will be the owner of those? Either you can choose a field from this place. Either you can go ahead and pick up one of the fields from the report that you're trying to insert, or if you don't want to do that, you can just select none. Automatically you will become the owner of all the records that will get imported. Okay, so let's hit the next button here. Now you have to do the mapping. So by default what happened is, since you have a Salesforce table and you have a CSV Excel sheet, automatically these columns got mapped, email to email, first name to first name, last name to last name, because both of them are both of them has the same name. So automatically Salesforce is smart enough to figure out, since we have the same name as the Excel sheet, we are able to directly employ it. If we don't have it, then if he's not able to figure out, then you can click on this map. So there is a field called fax in the CSV, but we don't have a field. We have a fax number here. So we're going to go ahead and pick up fax number. So whatever information you have in the fax, put it in the fax number column in the Salesforce. Okay. And rest of all the fields are imported safe. So this is what I have. Okay. Rest everything is imported. What I'm trying to do, I have an email. It's automatically got mapped to the email. Automatically the mapping is done. Only this particular field he was not able to figure out because the name here is fax in the Excel sheet and the name on the object we have is fax number. So he couldn't figure that out. And then hit the next button. The matching field you choose, candidate number, is not mapped and is required for an update and insert operation. So there is a field called candidate, but I don't see a candidate field here. There is an error.
That is an auto number.
But I should see the candidate number here. Let me just proceed without the error. Let's just go. Okay. So now we have imported the 18 records. So these records have been imported. We have 18 records in the file. So we're going to go ahead and we are starting the data loader. Click OK. And then what will happen is it will give you the status. It will also send you an email. So if you go back to this one, it will also send you an email here representing that, okay, these are the records that got inserted. And let me see, where is that email? So if you don't have it, you'll get it in a couple minutes. So this is my import shows. It says that there are total of 100% have been completed. Okay, records that are processed are 11. Okay, there is no failed records, nothing fails. We are able to successfully import all the records. Okay, now if you go to the candidates, now you will see that those records got imported. You just need to refresh it. See, there was nothing like this before. There were no 16 records here. So let me just create a new view and then just add a custom. View means the new representations. Okay, all candidates, which fields you want to display. I want to display the first name and the last name. And hit the save button. So now these are all the records. The last records we didn't insert it. All these Paul, George, Mary, these are the records the Salesforce has inserted for us. Did you get it? These are the records that Salesforce has inserted. All these names, the records the Salesforce has inserted. Okay. So these are the 26th. So these are all the records that got inserted from that other database, from the Salesforce Excel sheet. Are you able to follow how did I do this one? So you went to the setup. There is a place called data import wizards. You looked for the data import wizard here, and then this is the place that you went to. You have data import wizard. This is my data import wizard, and then here you have already did records that were created at 11, and then you did the launch the wizard button here, and then it's easy from there. You just need to pick up which object do you want to insert to. I wanted to insert to the candidates. Okay, and then you have, do you want to add the new records? Yes. Then initially I had it by name, then I just removed it because there was nothing by name or anything, so I just left it as none. I picked up which CSV file I need to choose from. Then I went to that CSV file. I picked that CSV file or Excel sheet, whatever that I have. And then I hit the next button. And then if there was a mapping already done, you can already do it. If you cannot find out, if Salesforce was not able to figure out the mapping, you can click on this map and then you can pick up which field you want to map it to. So we picked up fax number from here and then hit the map button, and then we went to the next step. Okay, so these are the different records that you have. You don't want to import it because we already did, so just hit the cancel button. Okay, so this is the way to do it, the data import. So this is by using the data import wizard. The other process that you can use is the data loader, which we're not going to cover, but this is okay for the questions might come from this exam. One of the very common questions is that 50,000 is the limit on this using the data import, and if you have records which are greater than 50,000, then you will use the data loader. Okay, any questions on this one, guys?
Deepika?
Yes.
Yeah, why did when you did initially, why did it ask for the candidate number, not map?
Because we didn't have something called as candidate name there. See, if you go back to the data import, on our Excel sheet, we didn't have something called as candidate number. Do you see a candidate number here?
Yes, but that's an auto-generated, right? When you
Yeah,
insert
that's exactly an auto-generated one. So they uniquely did, because we were picking up that was not because of this one. The error was little misleading. There was asking of the name field. Remember, there is a field called, but we don't have a field here called name, neither on this one and nor we have it on the candidate. So the error message was little not self-explanatory. It was looking for a field called name, and we don't have a field here with the name. That's why it was kind of finding the name field, because it was saying that, okay, how you're going to differentiate if the record is an existing, look for the name field. Okay, but none of those have a name field. Now, candidate object does not have a name field. That's why, because the way it got corrected was not changing anything in the candidate number or anything. We just removed it from the drop down. That's what. I did. It was not because of the candidate number. It was more because of the, we picked a field called name, which was not there in this candidate object. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
No worries. So similarly, you can import other records, positions and job application, etc. I just gave you one example to the candidates. Any more questions on this one? Okay. Now the next thing that we have left with us, this is the next thing that we have to do is the securing and the sharing of the data. Now, what do you mean by the securing and sharing of the data? So far we have seen how we can add the records. We have seen how we can add the objects, how to create relationships between the objects. Now we need to see how to protect our data, right? See, when, let's say, there are different people and there are different people working in an organization. You have recruiting managers, you have interviewers, you have just normal employees who are working in your company. You don't want every information to be available to everyone. You wanted to protect the data, right? You wanted to have, let's say, if interviewer is there who is taking the interview, you don't want him to see the maximum pay for a position, because he might be at the same position, right? And he will be hey, why does this person is getting way more than what I'm making at this position? So to avoid those kind of things, you need to hide that kind of information from that user. Similarly, the recruiting manager should only be allowed to delete a particular position, right? You should not allow everyone to delete whatever he wants. You should not allow that kind of information. So it's very important to protect your data and to also see which people have what kind of rights over the data. Similarly, if you are a VP of a company or you're a high up, you wanted to have knowledge of everything. You wanted to have a glimpse of everything. You don't want to hide something from him because he is the CEO. But at a different level, let's say recruiting manager, he should not be allowed to delete the positions. Let's say recruiting manager is the only one who is allowed to delete positions from employment websites. So let's say once you have put the postings on the employment websites, later on the position got filled, you don't want to pay that post, right? You don't want to keep paying because you've already fulfilled that role in your company. You wanted to go ahead and delete it. But not everyone should be able to delete the post, because since the post was created by recruiting manager, you want to make sure only recruiting manager deletes it. So you should now, this is very important to secure and share the data with the right people, right? So the Salesforce comes up with a lot of different ways that you can share and you can control the visibility of your application. Okay, you can control who can see what kind of rights they have it over that data. Means, is he allowed to delete records? Is he only allowed to create new records? Is he allowed to edit records? Whatever you want to do it, you can make sure that those kind of information using the Salesforce tool. So that is called as the securing the data and the sharing. There are different ways to do it. One of the way is using the profiles. Okay, one of the very important way is the profiles. You can control the visibility of the application through the profile. We have already talked about a little bit about profile when we started this course. That is called as the profile. Now, profile controls a lot of things. You can control what application the user will see. Okay, you can control that. You can control what tabs the user will see. Okay, you can control what objects the user will see. You can control, is he able to create new record? Is he able to delete the existing record, or is he able to edit the existing record? So you can make sure all these things through the profile, and we will take how we can do that one by one. So profiles, you can do that through. Similarly, then, so you have a profile. Now the issue with the profile is, guys, the issue is that, let's say, so you can control this through the profile. You can control application, means you can see what all application that particular user will be able to see, what all tabs that user will be able to see, what all objects the user will be able to see, and does he have permission to create new records? Does he have permission to edit records? Does he have permission to edit, delete the records? And new records means new candidate records. He might have permission to create new candidate records, but he might not have permission to create new position records. Let's say you want to do something like that. let's say you wanted to hide some fields from him. On the position object, I don't want an employee to see the maximum or minimum pay. You can control which fields you can see. You can also control which fields he can edit or delete. Okay, this topic we're going to discuss in the next class, but I wanted to give you what all this is about. Okay. So you have a profile to do this way. You can control application, you can control tabs, you can control objects, you can control records, editing, deleting, and you can control fields through the profile. Then the problem with the profile is like this, guys. One profile you can give to multiple people in your organization, and based upon what profile they have, they are going to see the same things. So all of these 5 people, let's say all of them have the same profile, then what will happen is all of these are going to see the same exact thing. The same prof will have the same visibility on the tab, will have nothing different will be there because all of these 5 people have the same profile. At one point of time, one user can only have one profile. Okay, I cannot have 2 profiles. I cannot be a system admin and a standard user at the same time. I can either be a system admin or I can be a standard user. I cannot have both at the same time. Okay, and one profile can be given to multiple people, but one person can only have one profile at a time. Now, let's say, guys, out of these 5 people, let's say one of them has to work on a different project, right? There's always, let's say there's a QA, there's a team of 5 QA people. We have 5 QA, and let's say one of that QA has to work on a different project, right? Now, for a couple days or couple months, he has to work because somebody is on the leave and he needs to take the in charge, and he needs to have some different visibility. Now the problem with that is, let's say one of the guy, let's say his name was Ram, and he went to a different, he has to go ahead and work on a different project for some period of time. Now the problem with this, if he's going to have this, and you have to give him an extra permission, let's say out of all these 5 people, only this person has to have an extra permission. Now there are 2 ways of doing it. Either you go ahead and change his profile or create a new profile for him, especially for this person. That's not good, because profiles are meant to be shared. We don't want our profiles to create for one user. Okay, you don't want one profile for one. Profiles are meant to be shared. Okay, these are templates you want to share. They're not meant to be for one individual will have its own profile, a custom profile. No, that's not the sole purpose. So how you will achieve this? How you will make sure that out of these 5 people, only this person has the right on different application for some period of time. So you cannot do the profile way, because it's not a good idea to create a whole different profile for him. Okay, and if you give him the same profile that like him, then he won't have that. Then if you want to give application visibility to on that profile, then what will happen is all of those people will also able to see that. So how you're going to do it? So the better way to do it using is the permission set. Okay, that is called as the permission set. Okay, that is called as the permission set. So this permission set, you can give as many permission set to an individual. Okay, as many permission sets you can give to a particular person. But the problem with the permissions, so you can give, and you can do the same exact thing that you can do through profile. So through permission set, you can control the application visibility, you can control the object visibility, you can control the record visibility, you can control the field, everything you can do. But when you're doing the permission set, you can only grant more permissions. You know what I'm saying? So if this particular individual have this P1 profile, let's say, and you're giving him a permission set called R1, let's say, then through R1, you can only give more permissions. You cannot take away the existing permission he has, let's say, through the profile. Let's say this profile tells him that you have visibility on this application. On R1, you cannot restrict that. You cannot say that you cannot restrict him. You cannot say that, okay, now he does not have visibility on this application, and that is controlled by permission set. So permission set, you can only give him more permissions. You cannot take away the permissions that he already exists. And one particular individual can have multiple permission set, but he can only have one profile at a time. So this will solve our problem here that, okay, this particular individual will have the same profile that rest of the people have, but he will have an additional permission set. And through this permission set, you will give him an extra permission on this another application that he is working on for a couple of days. Okay, so you can do that through the permission set. Next thing that you have is, guys, is called as the OWD. Now, what is this OWD? This is called as organization wide default. Now, what do you mean by organization wide default? Now, let's say guys, you wanted to control. Don't worry guys, I'm doing it a little fast. I'm just giving you an overview. We will talk about it each and every topic next class, but I just want to give you a glimpse of, because I don't want to create, we had time and we will not be able to finish everything in half an hour. So I want to take it over to the next class, but I want to give you a brief introduction to what we're going to learn in the next class. What is this OWD? Let's say guys, you don't want your data that you have created, the records that you have created. Let's say you're working in a team, you're in a marketing team and you're working with 5 different individuals and they are at the same level, right? They all are sales associate, let's say. There's no manager, there's no one person ahead of you. All of them are working at the same role, okay? Or same position. Now, let's say what I'm working on, I don't want to share with my peers. I don't want to share with my colleagues. I don't want to make sure whatever the records that I'm working on. So you can do that using OWD. You can say that, okay, the records that I have created should only be visible to me. It should not be visible to my people who are working in my team. Okay, so you can do that through the OWD. OWD has 3 options: public, private, read, public, read, private, and public read write. Means public read and public read write means that, okay, you'll be able to see everyone's else record. You will be able to see everyone's else record. And public read write means you will also be able to edit those everyone's record. Okay, what are this private means? If you want to restrict that the records that you have created should only be visible to you, then you can have this OWD set to private. That's what the OWD is doing. Okay, you can set the OWD to private. Okay, so then if you set this OWD to private, the records that you have created, let's say you have 4 people, Ramesh, Shahrukh, Salman, they are working in the same team, and you have OWD set to private. OWD is for every object. Okay, so let's say OWD for position is private, means all the positions record that you have created will only be seen by you. No one else will be able to see your record. Similarly, if the records that are created by Salman, Shahrukh will not be able to see them because OWD is private for that position object. Okay, so you can say OWD is private means the records that are created by you will only be seen to you. Then the problem here is this, that manager has to know what everyone is doing in his team, right? That's the role of the manager. He needs to see what all these people are doing because I am their manager. If you made OWD to private, then what you're restricting, that each of them will only see the records they have created. And since manager has not created these records which these people have created, then manager will not be able to see those. Then what we will do? But we don't want to do that. We wanted to have an exception to this rule that, okay, if he is a manager and he is managing you, he should be able to see whatever you are working on. So then comes something called as roles. Okay, then comes something called as roles. So the roles will define, if you have OWD is private, okay, OWD is equals to private, then this roles comes into play. Okay, roles come into play. Now roles will tell you that, okay, since I am a manager of these people and these 3 people report to me, I should be able to see them. So even if the OWD is private, but you are the manager or you are the director and these are the people who report to you, you will be able to see the record. So that's roles is an exception to this OWD. Similarly, guys, this role only comes into place when you are in a team and he is the manager. Okay, and these are the people. But let's say you have different departments in your organization. You have a sales department, you have a marketing department, and you have a whatever product department or something. And you have VPs of each of those departments, right? You might want to go ahead and share the records across these peers. Okay, VP and VP. All of them are at the same level. There is no one reporting to each other. All of them VP, etc. And let's say they wanted to share the records here in between them. Okay, this is a marketing team, this is a sales team, this is a product team. Okay, product team, this is a marketing team, and this is a sales team. So then what you will do, if you wanted to do something like this, if you wanted to make sure that the records that are created by my team should be visible to the other team, then you have something called as sharing rules. So what does sharing rules does? In the sharing rules, even if the OWD is private, you can create a rule saying that, okay, the records that are created by my sales team, marketing team should be able to see them. even if they're at the same level. Okay, OWD makes sense. OWD is private. This is also another exception, and this is an exception to a larger group of people. See, in case of roles, that works for one team. You have a manager and people working under him. Then manager will be able to see the records that are created by you. But now when we're talking about across team and we have people at the same peer, they are at the same level, and you wanted to share the records, only with one team can only, let's say marketing has to share some records with the sales team. Then you can create a sharing rule saying that, okay, the records that are created by marketing team the records will be seen by the sales team. So that is an exception again to the sharing rule. Okay, that's an exception to the sharing rule. Are you guys following so far? Or am I going too fast? Lata, are you following? Okay, so then you have sharing rules. So far we have profiles to control the visibility. Then we have permission set to control the visibility. And then we talked about OWD. And once the OWD is private, either you have an exception through roles, either you have an exception through sharing rules, etc. Okay, now let's say, guys, one last thing we have here is called as what is it called as the page layout. So let's say you have created a position object, right? And on the position object, guys, you have a field called Java required or C required, or these kind of fields are there, Java, C, C#. If the languages section, remember they have a language section there which basically asks you, does this position requires a knowledge of Java or knowledge of Apex, etc. These are the fields that you have on this. Now these fields only make sense for an IT person, right? IT person will be able to, oh, Java means he's talking about a program. But if you are filling up an account manager position, that person does not know what Java is. He has no idea about all these 4 different things that we have asked him. So we don't want him to get confused, and we don't want him even to show those kind of fields, right? So we wanted to make sure that if the person who is coming, he is a non-IT person, he should not be even answering these questions. And if he's an IT person, then those fields make sense for him. Similarly, let's say you have account, and you working in an account, you have a company which deal with these broker accounts or something. Okay, so you have an accounts and you have different kinds of accounts. You have leasing accounts, you have brokerage accounts, you have rental properties, etc. Now there might be a couple of things that make only sense for rental property. There might be fields which only make sense for brokerage. So you don't want to have every field in one single account, right? You don't have to have all those different things in the same account object, because see, the rental person will get confused looking at some of the brokerage fees, but they are the same. They are different types of account, but if somebody is answering a rental answer, then he should only see some specific fields that make sense for him. If his person is belonging to a brokerage department, then he should only see the brokerage fields that make sense for him. So how you can control that? You can control that through something called as the page layout as well. You can say that, okay, you can control those kind of things using these layouts, which basically tells you that, okay, somebody who belongs to a non-IT should not be able to answer those kind of questions. If somebody belongs to the to the brokerage account, he should not be able to see the other stuff. Okay, so you can control all those kind of things using these the layout of the page. Okay, that you don't have to have multiple positions, okay, a non-IT and IT position. You don't have to do that. Okay, you don't have to have, okay, for IT position create a different position type, and for non-IT create a whole different. No, you will, using the same one position layout, you can have different visibility, and you can control what fields he will see under which. Okay, then that is called as the layout. Okay, that we'll talk about that as well. So you can see that if somebody is answering a non-IT position, he should not be able to see this. If somebody is answering an IT position, then only these languages make sense for him. So all this will be covered in the next class, and this is what the securing and the sharing will be all about. Okay, profiles, permission sets, OWD, sharing rules, manual sharing, etc. And then you have queue, all those kind of things. What is a queue? Queue is nothing but a group of people. Okay, so let's say guys, you are working in a customer care, and how the things work in customer care is the cases come on, support tickets gets created every single time. So you might, this is a support tickets queue. So any person who is free will get, so you have defined a people of a, you have defined couple of people in a queue. Means let's say Ramesh, Shahrukh, Salman, Priyanka, they're working in one queue. So whenever a new support tickets come, then what will happen is that particular person will get, one of the person from the queue will get assigned to that ticket. Then if that person is free, then another person, so that's queue is nothing but a group of people, and whenever an issue comes, you can assign that particular whole thing to a particular queue. So if somebody is free, he'll work on that queue. Okay, that's that simple as that. A queue is nothing but a group of people. Okay, and you can assign you can assign anything to a queue, which is basically represents a bunch of users. Okay, so that is what the queue is all about. So we'll discuss all these things in our next tutorial, in our next class, and I need a favor from you guys again. I have my, yeah, any questions before I close?
I know.
Okay, so guys, I will be off. 11th is the day of my wedding. Okay, I'm getting married on June 11th.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you so much. So I will be, I was thinking if you guys, if all of you work on the, is everyone working here, or there are people who are at home as well, or all of you? I want to know what is your scenario. Are you guys working? Because I'm off. I'm on vacation starting from 1st to 13th. Okay, so I have, and the weekends I will be busy, like 11th and 12th. So I was thinking if I can take my next class before the, instead of taking it over the weekend, I can take it on one of the weekdays in the evening if it's possible for you guys.
I'm available, Deepika.
Are you available?
Yeah,
on
that's fine.
Okay. What about you, Madhu?
Yeah, I'm available. And
I-
please, anytime after 6:30 or 7 o'clock.
Okay, you want to do it at like 6:30 in the evening? After 6:30.
Yeah, right.
So I
Anytime
will
after
be,
6
okay,
o'clock.
so I will be in the EST zone, so I will be 1 hour ahead of you. So
Okay.
so what I'm going to do here is the next class that we have on 4th, let me just stop the recording because we don't want to